All right, let's talk piano music literacy. There are lots of different ways to read music, and I want to explore some questions in piano music literacies. So my main question is, why do many piano teachers, maybe even most, only recognize traditional note reading and rhythm counting as the only ways to measure music literacy?
Can you and should you start learning to play piano without reading music? Yes, of course you can. People do it all the time. There's loads of famous musicians that don't read. Some piano players that I love don't use it for a lot of the things that they do. And that's the same for loads of musicians that I know too. There's some musical situations and some musical cultures and genres where reading's the complete norm, and others where you would never use that skill or not as much.
So according to my searches on YouTube and in Google, there are dozens of articles and videos on why playing by ear leads to better musicianship than just reading notes. So here's my search. First of all, it says you can learn songs more quickly if you're playing by ear. There's not much scope for improvisation if you just read notes. This one says playing by ear makes it easier to learn to read. And then this one says, my advice is to learn piano by ear to begin with. This one says, let's see, many musicians fall into a trap of feeling like a note-playing robot. And then this one, notes can be a guide. Similarly, I was unable to find research or scholarship finding that piano students must be able to read notation and count rhythms to be successful, or that this is the most beneficial way to learn. But in Piano Teacher Central, which is a really popular private piano teacher page on Facebook, there are dozens of piano teachers complaining about their students who can't or won't read music or count rhythms. Cannot read rhythm, cannot count basic rhythms. What do you do with a transfer student who learned to play by ear? I want them to read music, of course. They understand primary chords, but cannot read music or count. They didn't seem to have prioritized learning to read music. I lean towards the learning side. Can't read primer level sheet music, have no desire to practice baby songs. Students who barely know the names of the notes, constantly looking at their hands. Previous teacher did nothing with helping her learn how to read notes, makes me angry. Dig their heels in and refuse to count. Didn't count early on and just aren't going to count that way. And here's my favorite. If you teach piano and you don't ensure that your students have the basic skills of note rhythm and reading rhythm, fingering technique and dynamics, you have absolutely no business calling yourself a music educator. And this is my personal experience in the piano teacher world in the past 35 years, and more especially in the past 25-ish years since Let's Play Music graduates have been going to private piano teachers. They often complain about the Let's Play Music graduates. Sure, they might be able to play their chords.
Number one, chords are everything. Chords are everything.
They might be able to improvise. They might be able to, they might be very creative and have composed, but we don't like it because they can't read their notes on the staff. They're 7. So we've introduced note reading. We know that it's the common way to translate written music for pianists, but there is so much more to musicianship than staff reading and common counting rhythms.
I'll go so far as to say that this is something that's sadly neglected in the conservatory training of so many concert pianists who can't improvise the simplest tunes by ear because they're never expected to.
So here's my question. Why does the typical piano teacher not value musicianship skills like harmony skills, innate rhythm abilities, pitch recognition, and chord playing as much as reading notes and counting rhythms? And further, why in general don't they recognize or value other forms of literacy and musicianship like interval reading, pattern reading, chord shapes, improvisation, rhythmic skills, and other forms of decoding rhythms, along with ear training and creativity? That's my question.